The US Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Israel. There, he warned that moves by Israel's parliament toward the annexation of the West Bank could threaten President Donald Trump's plan to end the war in Gaza, which has so far yielded a shaky ceasefire. Let's bring in Noga Tarnopolsky, our correspondent in Jerusalem. Noga, a very good evening to you. Tell us then about Rubio's visit.
Good evening, Mark. Well, Rubio's visit has just started. In fact, he's meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister now. They were supposed to have held a press conference about an hour ago, but it's running late, the way things often do here. We are seeing an extraordinary chain of top American figures come to Israel, one after the other. We had President Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, along with the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, here for about 3 days. Just as they were leaving, we saw the arrival of the vice president for his first visit here, J.D. Vance with his wife. Quite a big visit and weighty. They left today, and within less than an hour, if I'm not mistaken, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, arrived. And after Rubio leaves, we're waiting for at least 2 new headliners, the head of the CIA, John Ratcliffe, and Witkoff's deputy, Morgan Ortagus. The short version of the story is that the United States wants to keep a very, very hands-on posture regarding Israel's side of the Trump ceasefire agreement for Gaza, and is really taking matters into their own hands via this new American military civilian base in southern Israel, where we now see flags of Denmark, Norway, the UK, other countries, other military representatives who have come to also supervise matters. And also through these very high-profile visits in which Prime Minister Netanyahu has really been set in his place quite publicly by the American visitors.
So, as you say, it's been quite an all-star lineup of American politicians coming through the door where you are. Obviously, J.D. Vance, his visit, his whole aim was to sort of keep Netanyahu on side. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely, and his visit ended on quite a bitter note, because a few hours before Vance's departure, some members of the opposition and of Netanyahu's coalition, in fact, a majority of the members of his own party, kind of pulled a prank, the sort of prank that Israeli governments under Prime Minister Netanyahu have gotten accustomed to pulling on American presidents and other senior American officials. In other words, holding a symbolic performative vote in the Knesset. Yesterday it was 2 votes on preliminary bills that haven't even yet arrived in committee, but on very provocative subjects, so as to draw the attention of the massive international media circus that follows these headliners. Yesterday was 2 votes regarding Israeli annexation of the West Bank, and J.D. Vance hated it and didn't hide it. He said to Netanyahu that he was not happy, and then he said to the cameras that he felt personally insulted by what he called a stupid stunt. And he then said that the Trump administration opposes annexation and, quote, Israel will not annex the West Bank. A stance that Prime Minister Netanyahu has held of promising annexation to his base for a good 5-6 years now. So it really didn't end well, and we have to see now what happens with this visit currently underway with Marco Rubio.
Noga Tarnopolsky in Jerusalem, as always. Thank you very much indeed.